How could you do this to us? Essie cried, tears streaming down her face. To our children. Nosa, filled with regret, fell to his knees. Essie, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. Please forgive me. Nosa was a humble fisherman who lived alone in a small village by the Kuba River. Every morning, he would rise with the sun, his heart brimming with hope for a good catch. He often arrived earlier than the other fishermen, and sometimes, when he was lucky, he caught some fish, enough to sell and make some money to buy food. But sometimes, he returned home with nothing. One particular bright sunny day, he set out early as usual, the promise of a clear sky lifting his spirits. The river was his life, its gentle current guiding him as he cast his net, always waiting for the familiar tug of fish. As Nusa approached his usual fishing spot, he heard a melody drifting through the air. The melody was sweet and haunting. Curiosity piqued as Nusa followed the sound to a secluded river bend. There, on a smooth rock, sat the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Her long dark hair cascaded down her back, shimmering like silk, and her eyes sparkled with an otherworldly light. She sang a folk song, an ancient song that spoke of love and longing. Nusa stood transfixed, his net forgotten. The woman noticed him and smiled, her eyes twinkling at the corners. "Hello," she said, her voice like the river's gentle ripple. "I am Essie." From that day on, Nosa visited the river not just to fish only, but to see Essie. They spent hours together, talking and laughing. Essie told him stories of the river, of its secret and its magic. Nusa shared tales of his village, of his hopes and dreams. With each dawn, their bond grew stronger, a deep and abiding love blossoming between them. Despite knowing that Essie was a mermaid, Nusa couldn't imagine his life without her. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, he took her hand. "Essie, will you marry me?" he asked, his voice trembling, filled with emotion. Essie looked into his eyes, hers filled with tears of joy. "Yes, Nusa, I will, but promise never to reveal my secret to anyone. Promise to love no one but me. The day you break these promises, our bond shall be broken forever." Nusa was never unfaithful, something he carried with pride. So it was easy to keep Essie's promise. "I promise never to hurt your feelings or look at another woman the way I look at your beauty," he said, his heart bursting with joy and contentment. He could not contain the fortune smiling at him in the form of Essie. "One more thing," Essie said. "I would like to take you to my kingdom. I want you to see my family. Will you come with me?" Nusa pondered for a second. The thought of swimming beneath the river scared him. He was just a shallow river fisherman, not a diver. He looked into Essie's eyes. "I will protect you," Essie said. "It's going to take 3 days." "3 days?" Nusa exclaimed. "The villagers will search for me." "Tell them you traveled to see a friend," Essie replied quickly. "We leave tonight. Come to the river bend. I'll be waiting." When dusk fell, as if hypnotized, Nusa ate his dinner of aku and baga soup, smoothed out the sheet on his bed, and walked out of his mud hut. His fishing pole rested against the wall, and his fishing net sat under his bed. He walked through the lonely path leading to the river, and constantly glanced, hoping no one was watching at that ungodly hour. Soon, he arrived at the river bend, where Essie stood waiting for him. She didn't sing this time around, but she looked beautiful and glowed with the blue light in the dark. Nusa walked toward her in awe, forgetting about his surroundings. Without a word, Essie took his hand, walked toward the river bank, and then dived in. On the fourth day, Nusa sat at the river bend, fishing with brand new fishing hooks, line, sinker, and net. Other fishermen joined him and asked where he had been. "I traveled to see my longtime friend, happy with my wedding plan," he replied. "Are you getting married?" the fisherman asked in shock. Nusa smiled. "Yes, in 3 days." Their wedding was a simple affair, held by the river where they had first met. The villagers marveled at Essie's beauty, and Nusa's happiness knew no bounds. They built a small house by the river, where they lived together in bliss. In time, they were blessed with two beautiful children, a boy named Osaje and a girl named Ivie. Nusa's fishing business flourished, thanks in no small part to Essie's blessings. Fish seemed to leap into his nets, and his family wanted for nothing. Nusa was content, his life filled with love and laughter. But as time passed, Nusa's fortunes began to change. He became restless, the weight of his responsibilities bearing down on him. He sought solace in the village tavern, where he drank heavily. The once happily glint in his eyes was replaced by a dull haze, and he started to neglect his duties. One fateful night, Nusa succumbed to his weakness. In a drunken stupor, he spent the night with a human woman from the village. Word quickly spread, and it wasn't long before Essie found out. Heartbroken and betrayed, she confronted Nusa. "How could you do this to us?" Essie cried, tears streaming down her face. "To our children." Nusa, filled with regret, fell to his knees. "Essie, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. Please forgive me." But Essie's heart had been shattered. "You have broken our bond, Nusa. I cannot stay anymore." With a heavy heart, Essie withdrew her blessings. The fish no longer filled Nusa's nets, and his wealth quickly dwindled. One stormy night, she gathered their children and disappeared into the river's depths, leaving Nusa alone and heartbroken. Nusa would return to the river every day, hoping to catch a glimpse of his beloved Essie and their children. He would sit by the water's edge, singing the folk song she had taught him. The melody filled with his longing and sorrow, but the river remained silent, its secret hidden from him forever. Years passed, and Nusa grew old and frail. He spent his remaining days by the river, the memory of Essie and their lost love, his only companion. The village spoke of him in hushed tones, a cautionary tale of a man who had everything but lost it all due to his folly. And so, the story of Nusa and Essie, the beautiful mermaid's wife, became legend, a tale of love and loss, a tale of joy and sorrow, echoing through the ages like the haunting melody of a folk song sung by the river. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful story. In this story, the moral is do not bite the fingers that feed you, and always remember that one little mistake can wipe away a lifetime of successes. Thank you, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Bye.